Hey guys, tonight we're drifting back to a quieter time, when evenings moved at the speed of twilight, and the rhythm of a household belonged entirely to the woman who ran it. We're talking about the 1960s, specifically what American housewives did every single evening before modern life swept in and rewired everything. The routines, the rituals, the small sacred moments that held families together in ways we have mostly forgotten. This is the world of aprons still damp from dinner dishes, of telephone cords stretched across kitchens, of women who moved through their homes like conductors of a symphony no one else could hear. Before we step into that world, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this strange little corner of the internet where nostalgia and quiet reflection hold hands under a porch light. And thank you, truly, for suggesting this topic. You always send me the best ideas, the ones that make me think, the ones that pull at something tender and real. Your suggestions shape this channel in ways I cannot fully express, and I am grateful for each one. Drop a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is. I know someone out there is listening at 2:37 a.m, eating cereal straight from the box, pretending this counts as self-improvement. And speaking of listening, the channel is now live on Spotify. If you would rather drift off to these stories there, the link is in the description. Same warmth, same stories, just a different place to settle in. Now dim the lights, switch on a fan for that soft white noise breeze, wiggle down under your blanket, and get comfortable. Really comfortable. Like you're not moving for 8 hours unless there's a legitimate emergency or someone offers you pie. Because tonight we're exploring a world where evenings were not about scrolling or streaming or frantically catching up. They were about winding down, about tending to the people and places you loved, about preparing tomorrow while honouring today. A world where housewives moved through routines so ingrained they could perform them in the dark, and often did. Have you ever wondered what a Tuesday evening actually felt like in 1963? What did the kitchen smell like after dinner? What sounds filled the house once the dishes were done? What did mothers think about while folding laundry in the glow of a single lamp? Did they hum while they worked? Or did they move in silence, lost in thoughts no one else would ever hear? What did it feel like to tuck children into bed without a screen in sight? To sit beside your husband on the couch without the pull of a notification? To end your day knowing you had tended to every corner of your world with your own two hands? And more importantly, could you survive a single evening as a 1960s housewife? Could you handle the endless motion, the unspoken expectations, the quiet isolation that sometimes crept in once everyone else had gone to bed? Could you find peace in routines that never really ended? Or would the weight of it all press too heavily on your chest? Well, congratulations. You've just stepped into 1962. Dinner is over, the dishes are waiting, your children are playing in the next room, your husband is reading the paper, and the evening, your evening, is just beginning. Let us start with the most immediate task, the one that greets you the moment the last fork is set down. The dinner table, still warm from the meal, is covered in the evidence of feeding a family. Plates streaked with gravy, glasses half full of milk, napkins crumpled beside empty bread baskets. Your husband pushes his chair back and heads toward the living room. Your children scatter like dandelion seeds, and you, still seated for just a moment longer, take a breath and begin the work that no one else will do. The plates are heavy in your hands, ceramic rimmed with a delicate floral pattern that was part of your wedding china. You stack them carefully, scraping the larger scraps into the trash bin beneath the sink. A drumstick bone, a pile of mashed potatoes no one finished, the crust from your son's sandwich, which he promised he would eat but did not. You do not linger on the waste. There is no time for that. The serving bowls come next, still holding the remnants of tonight's meal, The green bean casserole barely touched, the meatloaf sliced but not entirely gone, the rolls in their wicker basket now cool and slightly hard. You carry them to the counter in 2 trips, your arms balancing the weight with practiced ease. You've done this 1,000 times, your body knows the rhythm. Your daughter appears at your elbow, offering to help in the way children do when the work is nearly finished. You smile and hand her the napkins, letting her carry them to the laundry hamper. She does it carefully, seriously, as though this small task is a grand responsibility. You thank her. She beams. Then she is gone again, back to whatever game is unfolding in the next room. The table itself needs wiping. You take a damp cloth and move across its surface, catching crumbs, smears of butter, a sticky spot where someone spilled juice. The wood grain shows through, familiar and worn. This table has held countless meals, countless conversations, countless ordinary moments that make up a life. You wipe it clean, and for a moment it looks new again. The salt and pepper shakers go back to their place in the centre. The butter dish, now empty, gets carried to the sink. The water pitcher, still half full, goes into the refrigerator. You move efficiently, without thinking, your hands knowing exactly where everything belongs. There is a satisfaction in this, a quiet sense of order being restored. Your husband calls from the living room, asking if there is any coffee left. You tell him you will make a fresh pot. He thanks you absently, already absorbed in the evening paper. You do not mind. This is the way things are. He works all day. You work all day. The difference is that your work does not end when dinner does. The dining chairs are pushed back in, aligned neatly around the table. The placemats, slightly stained, are stacked and set aside for tomorrow. The centrepiece, a simple vase with daisies you picked from the garden, stays where it is. It is the one decorative thing you allow yourself, and it makes you happy every time you see it. You stand back and survey the table, clean, empty, ready for tomorrow's breakfast. It is a small victory, but it is yours. The evening is just beginning, and already you have accomplished something. You wipe your hands on your apron and turn toward the kitchen, where the real work waits. There is no dishwasher in most 1960s kitchens, just a deep porcelain sink, a bottle of dish soap that smells faintly of lemons, and your own 2 hands submerged in water so hot it turns your skin pink. You scrub each plate, each pot, each glass, stacking them carefully in the dish rack to dry. The window above the sink frames the backyard, where the last light of day is fading into soft purple. You watch it while your hands move on muscle memory, and for a moment the repetition feels less like work and more like meditation. You turn on the faucet and let the water run until it is almost too hot to touch. Then you plug the drain and add a generous squirt of dish soap, watching it foam and bubble under the stream. The scent rises with the steam, clean and sharp, cutting through the lingering smell of dinner. You test the water with your fingertips, then plunge your hands in. The heat is shocking at first, but you adjust. You always do. The plates go in first, submerged and scrubbed with a sponge that has seen better days. You work the sponge in circles, loosening the gravy, the bits of mashed potato, the dried edges of meatloaf. Each plate emerges clean and slick, and you set it in the dish rack, angled just right so the water runs off. The routine is automatic. Your mind is free to wander. Through the window you can see your neighbour's porch light flick on. Somewhere down the street a dog barks. The sky's deepening, that brief in-between time when the world holds its breath before nightfall. You have always loved this hour, even when you're elbow deep in dishwater. The glasses come next, delicate and prone to water spots if you do not dry them immediately. You wash each one with care, holding it up to the light to check for streaks. Your daughter's glass still has a faint ring of milk around the rim. Your son's is sticky with juice, Your husband's holds the remnants of iced tea, the ice long since melted. You wash them all, rinse them under the tap and set them upside down on a dish towel to drain. The silverware clatters into the soapy water, a jumble of forks and knives and spoons. You fish them out one by one, scrubbing between the tines, wiping the handles. There is something satisfying about seeing them emerge clean, catching the light as you set them in the silverware basket. Small things, but they matter. Now come the pots and pans, the real work. The skillet is crusted with bits of browned meat. The casserole dish has cheese baked onto its edges. The saucepan has a stubborn ring of milk that refuses to budge. You scrub harder, your hands moving with purpose. The water grows murky, clouded with grease and soap. You drain it, rinse the sink and start again with fresh water. Your back aches slightly from standing. Your fingers are pruned and pink. But you keep going, because the dishes do not wash themselves, and no one else is going to do it. This is your domain. This is your responsibility. The last pot finally comes clean. You rinse it, set it in the rack, and pull the plug. The water drains with a slow, satisfied gurgle. You wipe down the sink with a dry cloth, making sure no soap residue remains. Then you stand back and look at your work. The dish rack is full, a precarious tower of clean plates and bowls and glasses. By morning they will be dry, and you will put them away. But for now they sit, glistening and clean, proof of your effort. You dry your hands on your apron and glance out the window one more time. The sky's darker now, the purple giving way to deep blue. The day is ending. Your work is not. Once the dishes are done, the kitchen itself needs tending. You wring out a damp dishcloth and move across the counters, wiping away crumbs, smears of butter, sticky rings left by juice glasses. You wipe the stovetop, still warm from dinner. You wipe the table, running the cloth along the edges where your children always seem to leave mysterious stains. The kitchen slowly returns to order. It is a small victory, one you will repeat tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. The counters are cluttered with the evidence of meal preparation. A cutting board still dusted with onion skins. A wooden spoon resting in a puddle of tomato sauce. The empty cans from the green beans, their lids peeled back and sharp. You gather them all, tossing the trash, setting the cutting board in the sink to wash later, hanging the spoon on its hook. Your hands move quickly, efficiently, guided by years of practice. You spray the counters with a mixture of vinegar and water, a trick your mother taught you. It cuts through grease and leaves everything smelling faintly of salad dressing, which is not glamorous but is effective. You wipe in long, sweeping motions, working from one end of the counter to the other. The laminate gleams under the overhead light, and you feel a small flush of satisfaction. The stovetop is next, and it is always the worst. Grease has splattered during the frying of the meatloaf. A pot of water boiled over earlier, leaving a crusty ring around the burner. You scrape at it with your fingernail, then attack it with the dishcloth, scrubbing until it loosens. The burners come off one by one, and you wipe beneath them, catching crumbs and mysterious blackened bits that have accumulated over the week. Your back protests as you bend and stretch, but you ignore it. This is part of the work. This is what keeping a house looks like. No one sees this part. No one thanks you for it. But it matters. A clean stove means you can start fresh tomorrow. A dirty stove means you're falling behind. You move to the table, where your family just sat and ate and talked and laughed. Now it is empty, scattered with crumbs and a smear of gravy near your husband's place. You wipe it down in broad strokes, paying special attention to the edges, where your son always manages to leave something sticky. The cloth comes away grey and damp, and you rinse it in the sink before continuing. The chairs get a quick wipe as well. Somehow your children have managed to get food on the seats, the backs, even the legs. You do not ask how. You simply clean it, moving from chair to chair, your cloth making soft swishing sounds against the vinyl. The floor will need sweeping, but that comes next. For now, you focus on the surfaces, the places people see and touch. You wipe the windowsill above the sink, catching a few dead flies and a thin layer of dust. You wipe the handle of the refrigerator, which is always mysteriously sticky. You wipe the front of the cabinets, where little fingerprints bloom like strange greasy flowers. Finally, you step back and survey your work. The kitchen is not perfect. It never is, but it is clean. It is orderly. It is ready for tomorrow. You rinse the dishcloth one last time, wring it out and drape it over the faucet to dry. Your hands smell like vinegar and lemon soap. Your apron is damp, but the kitchen, your kitchen, is yours again. The broom leans in the corner, waiting. You take it and begin sweeping the kitchen floor, the bristles whispering softly against the linoleum. Crumbs, dust, a stray green bean that somehow escaped the table. All of it gathers into a small pile that you sweep into the dustpan. The motion is rhythmic, soothing in its predictability. You have swept this floor 1,000 times, and you will sweep it 1,000 more. It is one of those tasks that never announces itself but always needs doing. You start at the far end of the kitchen, near the back door, and work your way toward the centre. The broom moves in steady, overlapping strokes, gathering everything into neat lines. The sound is gentle, almost musical, a soft shush, shush, shush that fills the quiet room. Your children are playing in the next room, their voices rising and falling. Your husband has turned on the television. But here, in the kitchen, it is just you and the broom and the simple, repetitive work of making things clean. The linoleum is patterned with tiny black and white squares, and over the years you've come to know every inch of it. The spot near the stove where the pattern is worn thin from your constant standing. The corner by the refrigerator where a square has lifted slightly, threatening to come loose. The area under the table, where crumbs seem to multiply no matter how often you sweep. You know this floor better than you know most people. You sweep under the table, bending low to reach the spots your children cannot see, but you know are there. A piece of macaroni, a wad of napkin, something small and brown that might be a raisin or might be something else entirely. You do not investigate. You simply sweep it all into your growing pile and keep moving. The dustpan is old, dented from years of use, but it still works. You hold it flat against the floor and sweep the pile into it with short, precise strokes. Some of the finer dust escapes, floating back onto the floor like it is mocking you. You sweep it again. This time it cooperates. You carry the dustpan to the trash and tap it gently, watching the debris fall. There is something deeply satisfying about a swept floor. It is a visible accomplishment, a clear before and after. The floor was dirty. Now it is clean. You did that. No one will notice, of course. No one ever notices a clean floor, but they would certainly notice a dirty one. That is the strange arithmetic of housework. Perfection is invisible. Imperfection is glaring. You sweep the area near the sink where water has dripped and left small puddles. The broom pushes the water into a damp streak and you make a mental note to mop later in the week. Not tonight. Tonight, sweeping is enough. Your daughter wanders in, barefoot, and you warn her to watch out for the pile you're building. She hops over it dramatically, giggling, and opens the refrigerator to peer inside. You ask her what she's looking for. She shrugs. Nothing really. She just wanted to see. You smile and tell her to close the door before all the cold air escapes. She does, then wanders back out, leaving a new set of footprints on your freshly swept floor. You sigh, but it is a soft sigh, one without real frustration. This is life with children. You sweep. They walk. You sweep again. it is the way of things. The broom goes back into its corner, the dustpan hung on its hook. The floor is clean, or as clean as it will be until tomorrow. You stand in the centre of the kitchen and look around. The counters are wiped, the dishes drying, the floor is swept. For this one moment, everything is in its place. It will not last. It never does. But for now, it is enough. If there are leftovers, and there usually are, you wrap them carefully in wax paper or transfer them into Tupperware containers that nest inside one another like pastel puzzle pieces. You label them in your mind, not on paper, because you will remember. The meatloaf goes on the second shelf, the mashed potatoes in the blue bowl, the green beans in the small round container. Tomorrow these will become lunch, or a quick dinner on a busy night. Nothing goes to waste. Waste is not something your household can afford. You stand at the counter, surveying what remains of dinner. The meatloaf, cut into thick slices, sits on its serving platter. There are 3 pieces left, enough for your husband's lunch tomorrow and maybe a sandwich for your son after school. You peel off a length of wax paper, fold it carefully around the slices, and tuck the ends under. The paper crinkles softly, a sound that always reminds you of your mother's kitchen. The mashed potatoes are in a larger bowl, a pale mound with a pool of melted butter in the centre. You scoop them into a Tupperware container, pressing the lid down until it clicks. These will need to be eaten soon, maybe tomorrow night with some reheated gravy. Potatoes do not keep well, and you know better than to let them sit too long. The green beans are a different story. There are only a handful left, not enough for a full serving, but too much to throw away. You put them in the smallest container you have, a round one with a yellow lid. They will probably end up in a casserole later in the week, mixed with cream of mushroom soup and topped with fried onions. Everything gets used eventually. You open the refrigerator and begin the delicate game of Tetris that happens every evening. The meatloaf goes on the second shelf behind the milk but in front of the eggs. The potatoes go on the top shelf where it is coldest. The green beans get tucked into the door next to the butter and the jar of pickles. You shift things around, making space, creating order in the cold, humming interior. There is a method to this, a system that only you understand. Your husband sometimes opens the refrigerator and stares into it, as though it is a puzzle he cannot solve. "Where is the cheese?" he will ask. "Right there," you will tell him, pointing. In front of his eyes. But you know where everything is. You could find any item in the dark, by touch alone. This is your refrigerator. This is your domain. You glance at the milk bottle, checking the level. Half full. That will last until midweek when the milkman comes again. You check the eggs. 6 left. Enough for breakfast tomorrow, but you will need to buy more soon. You make a mental note, adding it to the running list in your head. Eggs, bread, maybe some apples if they are on sale. The leftover rolls go into a bread bag, twisted and secured with a little metal tie. They're already starting to harden, but they will soften up if you warm them in the oven tomorrow. Your husband likes his rolls warm, slathered with butter. You will make that happen. You step back and close the refrigerator door. The light winks out. The hum continues. Inside, everything is in its place, organised, preserved, waiting. These leftovers represent more than just food. They represent your planning, your foresight, your refusal to let anything go to waste. You grew up during leaner times, and those lessons stay with you. Every scrap matters. Every bit of food is valuable. There is a virtue in thriftiness, in making things last, in stretching meals across days. Your mother taught you that. Her mother taught her. It is a legacy passed down through generations of women who understood that nothing comes easily and everything must be cared for. You untie your apron and hang it on its hook. The leftovers are stored. The kitchen is clean. The work of dinner is finally fully complete. Tomorrow you will pull those containers back out and transform them into something new. But tonight they rest. And so, for a moment, do you? With the kitchen finally clean, you wander toward the living room where your children are playing. They have built a fort out of couch cushions, or they are sprawling on the carpet with colouring books, or they are staging an elaborate battle with toy soldiers. You watch them for a moment, their faces still flushed from dinner, their voices rising and falling in the particular music of childhood. You remind them gently that bedtime is coming. They groan, but they do not stop playing. Not yet. Your daughter is on her stomach, a colouring book spread before her, a fistful of crayons scattered around her like bright little soldiers. She's colouring a picture of a horse, carefully staying inside the lines, her tongue poking out slightly in concentration. The horse is purple, the grass is orange. You do not correct her. Imagination does not need correction. Your son is across the room, kneeling on the floor, arranging toy soldiers in elaborate battle formations. He narrates the scene in a low, serious voice, assigning roles and strategies to each plastic figure. The green army is advancing, the grey army is defending. There is a war happening on your living room floor, and he is the general. You watch him for a moment, marvelling at how fully he inhabits this imaginary world. They do not notice you at first. They are absorbed, lost in their play, and you are content to let them be. These moments are fleeting. Soon they will be older, too old for colouring books and toy soldiers, too old to build forts and wage pretend wars. But tonight, they are still young. Tonight, they are still yours in this uncomplicated way. You step into the room, and your daughter looks up. Her face brightens. She holds up the colouring book to show you her work. You kneel beside her, admiring the purple horse, telling her it is beautiful. She beams. She asks if she can colour one more picture before bed. You tell her maybe, if there is time. She accepts this, returning to her work with renewed focus. Your son is still deep in battle. You ask him how the war is going. He looks up, surprised to see you, and launches into a detailed explanation of the tactical situation. The Green Army has superior numbers, but the Grey Army has better positioning. There is a bridge involved, and a canyon. You nod seriously, as though military strategy is something you think about often. He seems satisfied with your attention, and returns to his soldiers. You settle onto the couch, watching them both. The living room is warm, lit by a single lamp in the corner. The television is on, but the sound is low, just background noise. Your husband is in his chair, reading the paper, occasionally glancing up at the screen. This is your family. This is your evening. This is the life you have built. You remind them again, gently, that bedtime is in 30 minutes. Your daughter groans dramatically, collapsing onto her colouring book as though you have delivered tragic news. Your son protests that his battle is not finished. You tell them you understand, but that bedtime does not care about unfinished battles or uncoloured horses. They will have to continue tomorrow. Your son asks if he can leave the soldier set up overnight. You hesitate. The living room is not supposed to be a battlefield, but you look at his face, hopeful and earnest, and you relent. Just for tonight, you tell him. He whoops, victorious, and returns to his formations with renewed energy. Your daughter asks if you will read her a story before bed. You tell her yes, of course, the same answer you give every night. She smiles and returns to her colouring content. You sit with them a little longer, listening to the soft scratch of crayons, the quiet murmur of your son's narration, the ticking of the clock on the mantel. These are the sounds of home. These are the sounds you will remember long after your children are grown and gone. These are the sounds that make all the work, all the dishes and sweeping and endless cleaning, worth it. In 30 minutes, you will usher them toward the bathroom. You will supervise toothbrushing and face washing. You will tuck them into bed and kiss their foreheads. But for now, you let them play. For now, you let them be children. For now, you simply sit and watch, storing these moments away like leftovers, knowing you will need them someday. The laundry basket sits in the hallway, full of clothes you washed and hung on the line earlier in the day. Now, in the evening quiet, you carry it to the couch and begin folding. Shirts, pants, dish towels, small socks that always seem to lose their partners. Your hands move automatically, smoothing wrinkles, matching edges, stacking each item neatly. The pile grows, the basket empties. It is satisfying in a way that is hard to explain to anyone who has never done it. You set the basket on the couch beside you and pull out the first item. It is one of your husband's work shirts, stiff from the line, smelling faintly of sunshine and detergent. You shake it out, snapping it in the air to release the wrinkles, then lay it flat across your lap. You fold the sleeves in, one over the other, then fold the shirt in half and then in half again. It forms a neat rectangle, crisp and tidy. You set it aside and reach for the next. The rhythm is soothing. Pull, shake, fold, stack. Pull, shake, fold, stack. Your hands know the motion so well that your mind is free to wander. You think about tomorrow, about what you will make for breakfast, about whether you need to run any errands, about the way your daughter looked tonight, colouring her purple horse, her face so serious and sweet. Your son's pants come next, small and sturdy, with grass stains on the knees that you scrubbed at but could not fully remove. You fold them anyway, creasing the legs, smoothing the fabric. Grass stains are a sign of a childhood well lived, you tell yourself. Grass stains mean he is outside, playing, exploring, being a boy. You would rather have grass stains than a son who sits inside all day. The dish towels are easy, simple squares that fold quickly. You stack them one on top of the other, a neat tower of faded cotton. Some of them are embroidered with little flowers, a wedding gift from an aunt you have not seen in years. Some are plain, purchased from the 5 and dime. Some are fraying at the edges, but they still work, so you keep them. You will keep them until they fall apart completely. Now come the socks, the most tedious part. You dig through the basket, pulling out sock after sock, trying to find their matches. Some pair up easily, others are elusive, hiding in the folds of larger items. You lay the unmatched socks aside, hoping their partners will turn up in the next load. They usually do, usually. Your daughter's dresses are next, small and sweet, with little collars and buttons. You fold them carefully, trying not to wrinkle the fabric too much. She's particular about her dresses, about which ones she likes and which ones she refuses to wear. You have learned not to argue. Let her have her preferences. There are bigger battles to fight. Your husband wanders into the room, looking for something. He asks if you have seen the newspaper. You tell him it's on the coffee table, under the basket. He retrieves it, thanks you, and wanders back out. He does not offer to help with the laundry. It does not occur to him. This is your work. This has always been your work. You're not bitter about this, not exactly. But sometimes, late at night, you wonder what it would be like to finish dinner and simply walk away. To leave the dishes in the sink, the laundry in the basket, the children unbathed. To sit down and read the paper yourself. To do nothing for once and let someone else pick up the pieces. But you do not do this. You cannot. The work is yours, and you will do it. The basket is nearly empty now. Just a few more items. Your apron, your everyday dress, your husband's undershirts. You fold them all, adding them to the growing stacks on the couch. When you're finished, you gather each stack and carry them to the bedrooms, putting them away in drawers and closets, everything in its place, everything ready for tomorrow. The empty basket sits on the floor waiting for tomorrow's laundry. There is always more laundry. It never ends. But for tonight, it is done. and that is enough. Some fabrics cannot simply be folded and put away. They need ironing. You set up the ironing board in the living room, plug in the iron, and wait for it to heat. Then you press your husband's work shirt, smoothing out every wrinkle, making sure the collar lies flat. You iron your daughter's school dress, your son's trousers. The steam rises softly, carrying the faint scent of starch. It is tedious work, but necessary. Appearances matter. Wrinkled clothes suggest a household that is slipping. The ironing board unfolds with a metallic screech, and you lock it into place, adjusting the height until it hits your waist. You have been ironing at this board for years. The cover is scorched in places, marked with faint brown triangles where the iron rested too long. You keep meaning to replace it, but you never do. It still works. That is what matters. The iron heats slowly, the coils inside glowing orange. You test it with a damp finger, pulling back quickly when you hear the sizzle. Hot enough. You unplug it for a moment while you prepare the first shirt, then plug it back in and begin. Your husband's work shirt is pale blue, cotton, with long sleeves and a stiff collar. You lay it flat on the board, smoothing it with your hands, then press the iron down on the back panel. The wrinkles disappear under the heat, the fabric smoothing out like magic. You work methodically, moving from the back to the shoulders, to the sleeves, to the front panels. The iron glides smoothly, its weight familiar in your hand. The collar is the hardest part. It needs to be perfectly flat, perfectly crisp, or it will curl up under his tie and look sloppy. You press it carefully, flipping it over to iron both sides, checking your work in the light. It looks good. He will look good. That is your job, to make sure he looks good. You hang the shirt on a hanger and drape it over the back of a chair. One down. You reach for your daughter's school dress. A small thing with a Peter Pan collar and a sash that ties in the back. It is pale yellow, cheerful, and she loves it. You iron the skirt first, moving the iron in smooth, sweeping motions, careful not to press too hard and flatten the fabric. Then the bodice, the sleeves, the collar. You untie the sash and iron it separately, making sure the ribbon lies flat. The steam rises as you work, warm and damp against your face. The scent of starch is sharp and clean, mingling with the faint smell of warm cotton. There is something almost meditative about ironing, the repetitive motion, the way the wrinkles vanish, the way something rumpled becomes smooth. It is one of those tasks that allows your mind to wander while your hands stay busy. You think about tomorrow. Your husband will wear this shirt to work, where he will sit at a desk and shuffle papers and talk to people you have never met. Your daughter will wear this dress to school, where she will sit at her little desk and learn to read and play with her friends at recess. Your son will wear the trousers you're about to iron, and he will probably come home with them dirty again. But tonight, they will be clean. Tonight, they will be pressed and ready. Your son's trousers are navy blue, thick cotton, with a button fly and cuffed hems. They're already showing wear, the knees fading, the seat getting thin. He's hard on clothes, your son, always climbing, running, falling. You iron them anyway, pressing the creases sharp, making them look as new as possible. He deserves to look nice, even if he will destroy these pants within a week. The iron grows heavier as you work, or maybe your arm grows tired. You switch hands occasionally, giving your right arm a rest. The board creaks under the pressure. The fabric hisses under the heat. The steam rises in little puffs, ghostly and white. Finally you are finished. 3 items, perfectly pressed, hanging on the back of the chair. You unplug the iron and set it upright to cool. You fold the ironing board and tuck it back into the closet. Your arm aches, your back is stiff, but the clothes are ready. Tomorrow morning, there will be no scrambling, no hunting for something suitable. Everything will be laid out, pressed, perfect. That is the gift you give your family, the one they do not see and do not thank you for. But you give it anyway. Some housewives, the organised ones, prepare parts of breakfast the night before. You set the table with bowls and spoons. You measure out the coffee grounds and leave them beside the percolator. You check the bread box to make sure there is enough for toast. You pull out the butter dish so it will soften overnight. These small acts, done in the quiet of the evening, make tomorrow morning just a little bit easier, and tomorrow morning always comes too soon. You return to the kitchen, where the overhead light casts everything in a warm, yellow glow. The dinner dishes are dry now in the rack, waiting to be put away, but that can wait until morning. Right now you are thinking ahead. You are always thinking ahead. That is what keeps the household running smoothly. That is what prevents chaos. You open the cabinet and pull down 4 bowls, setting them on the table in front of each chair. Your husband's place, your daughter's place, your son's place, your place. 4 spoons follow, 1 tucked into each bowl. In the morning you will fill these bowls with oatmeal or cream of wheat or cold cereal if you are running late. But for now they sit empty, waiting. The coffee grounds go next. You open the canister and measure out 6 scoops, counting each one carefully. Too little, and the coffee will be weak. Too much, and it will be bitter. 6 is the right amount. You have been making coffee for your husband for years. You know what he likes. You pour the grounds into the metal basket of the percolator and set it beside the stove. In the morning, all you will have to do is add water and turn on the heat. Simple, efficient. You open the bread box and peer inside. 4 slices left. Not enough for tomorrow. You make a mental note to slice more bread in the morning from the loaf in the pantry. Your husband likes his toast dark, almost burned. Your children like theirs barely golden. You will make both, standing at the stove, flipping slices under the broiler, trying to get the timing right. It is a small juggling act, one you perform every morning. The butter dish sits in the refrigerator, the butter inside cold and hard. You pull it out and set it on the counter, where it will soften overnight. In the morning, it will spread easily across warm toast, melting into the bread in a way that cold butter never does. This is the kind of small detail that no one notices but everyone benefits from. Soft butter, warm toast, a smooth, easy morning. You check the icebox one more time, taking inventory. Milk for the cereal. Eggs for your husband if he wants them. Orange juice in the glass pitcher. Everything is here. Everything is ready. You close the door and turn back to the table, surveying your work. Bowls, spoons, coffee grounds, butter softening. It is not much, but it is something. It is a small gift to your future self, a way of easing the burden of the morning. You think about tomorrow, about how it will unfold. The alarm will ring. You will rise first before anyone else and start the coffee. You will make breakfast while the house is still quiet, while your children are still asleep in their beds. Your husband will come down first, already dressed, and he will sit at the table and read the paper while you cook. Then the children will stumble in, sleepy and rumpled, and you will feed them and send them off to school. And then, finally, when everyone is gone, you will sit down at the table with your own cup of coffee and breathe. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, you're still here, still moving, still preparing. You wipe down the counter one more time, checking for crumbs. You adjust the bowls so they sit perfectly centered at each place. You turn off the light, leaving just the small one above the stove, a dim glow that will guide you in the morning when you stumble in, still half asleep. You stand in the doorway for a moment, looking back at the kitchen. It is clean. It is ready. It is waiting. Tomorrow will come, and you will meet it, because that is what you do. You prepare. You plan. You make sure everything runs smoothly, even when no one notices. Especially when no one notices. You turn and walk back toward the living room where your family is waiting. The kitchen is quiet behind you, patient and still, ready for whatever morning brings. The living room has absorbed the chaos of the day. Magazines are scattered across the coffee table. Toys are tucked under the couch. Someone's shoes are abandoned near the door. You move through the room, picking up, straightening, restoring order. You fluff the couch cushions. You fold the afghan draped over the armchair. You turn off the lamp your husband left on. The room slowly looks like itself again. You start with the coffee table, which has become a landing zone for everything. The newspaper is spread across it, sections mixed and out of order. You gather them, folding each section neatly, restacking them the way they came. Your husband will want to finish reading it tomorrow. Beneath the paper are magazines, a Life, a Look, a Saturday Evening Post. You straighten them into a neat pile, covers aligned, corners flush. There are other things too. A coffee cup, empty except for a brown ring at the bottom. A pair of reading glasses, folded and forgotten. A pencil, a grocery receipt. You gather them all, returning each to its proper place. The cup goes to the kitchen. The glasses go on the side table, where your husband will find them. The pencil goes in the drawer. The receipt goes in the trash. You kneel on the floor and peer under the couch, where toys have migrated throughout the day. A toy soldier, a wooden block, a small rubber ball. You pull them out one by one, depositing them in the toy box in the corner. Your son's army is still set up on the floor, his elaborate battle frozen mid-action. You step carefully around it, honouring your promise to leave it untouched. Your daughter's colouring book is on the floor, open to the purple horse. Her crayons are scattered around it like confetti. You gather them, checking each one. The red is worn down to a nub. The blue is broken in half. The yellow is missing its paper wrapper. You put them all back in the box anyway. Crayons are precious. Even broken ones have life left in them. The couch cushions are askew, dented from sitting crumbs, nestled in the crevices. You pull them off one by one, shaking them out, brushing away the crumbs and bits of lint. Then you fluff them, pounding them gently with your fists until they regain their shape. You replace them carefully, arranging them so the seams align, so the couch looks inviting again. The Afghan is draped over the armchair, half on the seat, half trailing on the floor. Your mother crocheted it years ago, soft squares of blue and white, joined together with meticulous stitches. It is one of your most treasured possessions. You fold it carefully, smoothing out the wrinkles, then drape it over the back of the chair the way it is supposed to rest. It looks better this way. Intentional. Cared for. You notice a lamp is still on in the corner, casting a warm circle of light. Your husband must have turned it on earlier and forgotten. You cross the room and switch it off. The room dims slightly, now lit only by the glow of the television and the overhead light. It feels cozier this way, quieter. You step back and survey the room. It is not perfect. Your son's battle still sprawls across the floor. Your husband's shoes are by his chair, but it is better. It is tidier. It is a room that looks lived in but not overwhelmed. A room that says a family lives here, but that someone cares for it. You think about the women's magazines you read sometimes, the ones with glossy photos of perfect living rooms, perfect sofas, perfect families smiling in perfect harmony. Your living room does not look like that. Your life does not look like that, but it is yours. It is real. It is full of the evidence of love, of ordinary days, of a family that is making its way together, and that you think is worth more than perfection. You pick up one last stray toy, a small wooden car, and place it in the toy box. Then you turn toward the hallway, where the next task waits. The living room is done. It is time to move on. Bath time is a nightly ritual, one that requires patience, warm water, and a washcloth that always seems to go missing. You fill the tub, test the temperature with your elbow, and call the children in. They splash, they giggle, they protest when you scrub behind their ears. You wash their hair, rinse it carefully, wrap them in towels that smell like sunshine and detergent. Their skin is pink and warm. They're clean finally and ready for bed. You turn on both faucets, adjusting the knobs until the water runs warm but not hot, the temperature just right for small bodies. The tub fills slowly, the sound echoing off the tile walls, a gentle rushing that signals the end of the day. You pour in a capful of bubble bath, watching it foam and multiply under the stream. The bathroom fills with steam, and the sweet, soapy scent of lavender. You call down the hallway bath time and wait for the inevitable resistance. Your son appears first, dragging his feet, already negotiating. "Do I have to?" he asks. "Yes," you tell him. Every night the same question. Every night the same answer. Your daughter follows, clutching a doll she wants to bring into the bath. You tell her the doll can watch from the counter. She accepts this compromise. They strip down, leaving their clothes in small piles on the floor. You gather the clothes and toss them into the hamper, already thinking about tomorrow's laundry. Your son tests the water with his toe, deems it acceptable, and climbs in. Your daughter follows, squealing at the warmth, settling in with a splash that sends water over the side. You grab a towel and mop it up before it can spread. The washcloth is where you left it this morning, draped over the faucet, still damp. You rinse it under hot water, wring it out, and lather it with soap. Your son goes first. You scrub his face, his neck, behind his ears, where dirt seems to gather like sediment. He squirms and protests. You are firm but gentle. This is for his own good. His hair is next, thick and unruly, sticking up in odd directions. You wet it down, pour a palmful of shampoo into your hand, and work it into a lather. He closes his eyes tight, already anticipating the rinse. You're careful, tilting his head back, using a plastic cup to pour clean water through his hair. The soap runs down in white streams, pooling in the tub, turning the bath water cloudy. Your daughter watches, knowing her turn is coming. When you reach for her, she leans back willingly, more cooperative than her brother. You wash her face, her arms, her small hands with their tiny fingernails. She has been colouring all evening, and there are faint streaks of crayon on her palms. You scrub until they fade. Her hair is longer, finer, and tangles easily. You work the shampoo through carefully, combing it with your fingers, trying to avoid pulling. She winces once, and you apologise softly. "Almost done," you tell her. She nods bravely. You rinse her hair the same way you rinsed your son's, cupping water and pouring it gently, making sure no soap gets in her eyes. They play for a few more minutes while you sit on the edge of the tub, supervising. Your son makes waves with his hands. Your daughter arranges her fleet of floating toys, narrating a story only she understands. The water grows cooler. You tell them it is time to get out. You pull the plug and the water begins to drain with a slow gurgle. You lift your daughter out first, wrapping her in a towel that is warm from sitting on the radiator. She disappears into the terry cloth, and you rub her dry, starting with her hair, moving down to her arms, her back, her legs. She giggles when you tickle her feet. Your son climbs out on his own, dripping on the bath mat. You wrap him in his own towel, rubbing his hair until it stands up in wild spikes. He looks at himself in the mirror and laughs. You smile too. These are the moments that make the work worthwhile. These small, fleeting moments of joy. They are clean now, scrubbed and rinsed and dried. Their skin glows pink. Their hair is damp and sweet-smelling. You herd them toward their bedrooms, where pyjamas are laid out and waiting. Bath time is over. Bedtime is next. You walk them to their rooms, still damp from the bath, their pyjamas soft and clean. You pull back the covers and tuck them in, smoothing the blankets over their small bodies. You kiss their foreheads. You turn on the nightlight. You listen to their prayers, if they say them, or you simply tell them you love them and that tomorrow will be a good day. You close the door softly, leaving it open just a crack so they will not be afraid of the dark. Your daughter's room is first. It is small, painted pale pink, with white curtains that flutter slightly in the breeze from the open window. Her bed is narrow, covered with a chenille bedspread that you washed just yesterday. She climbs in without being asked, settling against her pillow, pulling her favourite stuffed rabbit close. You sit on the edge of the bed, and the mattress dips under your weight. You smooth her hair back from her forehead. It is still damp, darker than usual, and it smells like the lavender shampoo you used. She looks up at you with wide eyes, not quite ready to sleep, not quite ready to let go of the day. "Do you want to say your prayers?" you ask. She nods. You fold your hands and she folds hers, pressing them together the way you taught her. She closes her eyes and begins. "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep." Her voice is small and serious. "If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take." You say it with her, the words so familiar they require no thought. When she finishes, she opens her eyes and looks at you. "Will you check for monsters?" she asks. You smile. You always check for monsters. You stand and make a show of looking under the bed, in the closet, behind the curtains. "No monsters," you report. She looks relieved. You kiss her forehead, pull the blankets up to her chin, and tell her you love her. She whispers it back, already drowsy. You turn on the small nightlight plugged into the wall near the door. It casts a soft amber glow, just enough to chase away the shadows. You leave the door open a few inches the way she likes it and step into the hallway. Your son's room is across the hall. It is bigger, messier, filled with the evidence of boyhood. Model airplanes dangle from the ceiling on fishing line. A shelf holds rocks, baseball cards, a collection of bottle caps. His bed is unmade, the covers twisted from this morning. You straighten them while he brushes his teeth in the bathroom. He returns in his pajamas, his face still damp, his hair sticking up in odd directions. He climbs into bed and you pull the covers over him, tucking them in around his sides. He's getting older, too old for tucking in really, but he's not told you to stop yet, so you keep doing it. "Do you want to say your prayers?" you ask. He shrugs, which you take as a yes. He folds his hands loosely, not as carefully as his sister. He recites the same prayer, faster, more matter of fact. When he finishes, he looks at you. "Can I read for a little while?" he asks, gesturing to the comic book on his nightstand. 10 minutes, you tell him. He grins, victorious, and reaches for the comic. You know he will read longer than 10 minutes. You know you will come back later and find him asleep with the light still on, and the comic draped across his chest. But you let him have this small rebellion. He is a good boy. He deserves this. You kiss the top of his head. He tolerates it. You tell him good night, and he mumbles it back, already absorbed in his comic. You leave his door open too, just a crack, and step back into the hallway. The house is quieter now. Your children are in their beds, safe and clean and loved. You stand in the hallway for a moment, listening. You can hear your daughter shifting under her covers. You can hear the rustle of comic book pages from your son's room. You can hear your husband in the living room, the creak of his chair, the low murmur of the television. This is the sound of your family settling in for the night. This is the sound of a day coming to an end. You take a breath, feeling the weight of the evening lift slightly from your shoulders. The children are down. The hardest part is over. Now you can tend to yourself, but not yet. There is still more to do. The children are in bed. The kitchen is clean. The house is quiet. You sit down on the couch finally and let your body sink into the cushions. Your feet ache. Your back is tight. But for this one moment there is nothing urgent pulling at you. You close your eyes. You breathe. You let the stillness settle over you like a blanket. It will not last long, but it is yours. The couch seems to embrace you, soft and familiar, moulded to your shape after years of use. You lean back, resting your head against the cushion, and feel the tension in your neck begin to ease. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw unclenches. You did not realize how tightly you were holding yourself until this moment, when you finally let go. The house breathes around you. The refrigerator hums in the kitchen. The clock on the mantel ticks steadily, marking the seconds. Somewhere outside, a car passes, its headlights sweeping briefly across the living room wall before disappearing. The world is still moving, but you are not. Not right now. You stretch your legs out in front of you, wiggling your toes. Your feet are swollen, tired from standing all day. You think about taking off your slippers, but that requires effort, and effort is not something you want to expend right now. So you leave them on and let your feet rest, heavy and grateful, against the floor. Your hands lie in your lap, palms up, fingers loose. You look at them for a moment. They're red from the hot dishwater, dry at the knuckles, nails clipped short and practical. These hands have done so much today. They have scrubbed and wiped and folded and stirred. They have buttoned shirts and tied shoes and combed hair. They have carried children and dishes and laundry. They have worked without stopping, without complaint. And now, finally, they are still. You close your eyes again and listen to the sounds of your home. Your husband is in his chair, turning the pages of his newspaper. You can hear the soft rustle of paper, the occasional clearing of his throat. The television is on, voices murmuring indistinctly. You're not paying attention to what they're saying. It is just background, a gentle wash of sound that fills the space. You think about the day, about the morning rush, the breakfast you made, the lunches you packed, the beds you made, about the grocery shopping, the cooking, the endless cycle of meals and cleaning, about the moments with your children, the laughter and the frustration, the spills and the hugs, about the 100 small tasks that filled the hours, each one necessary, each one invisible. You wonder sometimes if anyone notices, if your husband sees the way the house runs smoothly, the way clean clothes appear in drawers, the way meals arrive on the table at the same time every evening, if your children understand that none of this happens by magic, that someone, you, is behind it all, making it work. Probably not. Probably they take it for granted, the way children take everything for granted, the way husbands do. It is only when something goes wrong, when dinner is late or a shirt is missing a button, that anyone notices. The rest of the time, your work is invisible. It is just the way things are, but tonight you are not bitter. You're too tired for bitterness. You're simply here, sitting on the couch, breathing in and out, letting the stillness hold you. This moment is a gift, small and fleeting, and you accept it gratefully. You open your eyes and look around the living room. It is tidy now, the chaos of the day erased. The couch cushions are fluffed. The toys are put away. The magazines are stacked neatly. Everything is in its place. This is your doing. This is the world you have created, and for all its exhaustion, there is something beautiful in it. You take one more deep breath, filling your lungs, then exhale slowly. The moment is passing. You can feel it slipping away, the stillness giving way to the knowledge that there is still more to do. But you have had this. You have had these few minutes of quiet, of rest, of simply being, and that is enough. Some evenings call for something warm to hold. You return to the kitchen and put the kettle on, or you make a fresh pot of coffee even though it is late. You pour it into your favourite mug, the one that fits perfectly in your hands, and you carry it back to the couch. The heat seeps into your palms, the steam rises softly. You sip slowly, savouring the quiet ritual of it. The kettle is old, aluminum with a whistle that shrieks when the water boils. You fill it at the sink, watching the water rush and swirl, then set it on the stove and turn the flame to high. The blue flame licks the bottom of the kettle, and you stand there for a moment, watching it, mesmerised by the simple act of heating water. While you wait, you retrieve your favourite mug from the cabinet. It is cream-coloured with a thin gold rim slightly chipped on one side. Your mother gave it to you years ago when you first got married. It has been with you through countless cups of tea, countless quiet moments like this one. It fits your hands perfectly, the handle just the right size, the weight of it comforting and familiar. You open the canister of tea bags and pull one out. The label promises relaxation, chamomile and lavender, though you're not sure tea has ever actually relaxed you. Still, the ritual is soothing. You drop the tea bag into the mug and wait for the kettle to boil. The whistle starts softly, a low whine that builds to a shriek. You lift the kettle from the flame and pour the water over the tea bag, watching it darken the water, turning it pale gold. The scent rises with the steam, floral and sweet, filling the kitchen. You let it steep for a few minutes, dunking the tea bag up and down, then fish it out and drape it over a spoon to cool before tossing it in the trash. You add a spoonful of sugar, stirring it until it dissolves, the spoon clinking softly against the sides of the mug. No milk tonight, just tea and sugar, simple and clean. You pick up the mug, cradling it in both hands, feeling the heat seep through the ceramic into your palms. It is almost too hot to hold, but you hold it anyway, letting the warmth spread up your arms, into your chest, settling somewhere deep inside. You carry the tea back to the living room and settle onto the couch, tucking your feet beneath you. Your husband glances up from his newspaper. "Making tea?" he asks. You nod. He returns to his reading. It is not a conversation, just an acknowledgement. You're making tea. He has noticed. That is enough. You blow gently across the surface of the tea, watching the steam shift and swirl. Then you take a small sip. It is still too hot, burning slightly as it goes down, but it is good. It is exactly what you needed. You cup the mug in your hands and hold it close, like a small, warm secret. The living room is dim, lit only by the lamp in the corner and the glow of the television. Your husband is absorbed in the news. Your children are asleep down the hall. The house is quiet, peaceful in a way it never is during the day. You sip your tea slowly, letting each swallow warm you from the inside out. There is something deeply comforting about this ritual. The kettle, the tea bag, the steam, the first sip. It is a small act of self-care, though you would never call it that. You would simply say you wanted tea. But it is more than that. It is a moment you claim for yourself. A few minutes where you do not have to be anything for anyone. You are just a woman drinking tea. You think about your mother who drank tea every evening, sitting in her own kitchen, staring out her own window. You wonder if she felt the way you feel now, tired but content, overwhelmed but grateful, alone but not lonely. You wish you could ask her. But she is far away, and phone calls are expensive, and anyway, some things are hard to put into words. You finish your tea, the last sip slightly bitter from the dregs at the bottom. You set the empty mug on the coffee table and lean back, feeling the warmth still lingering in your hands, in your chest. The ritual is complete, the tea is gone, but the comfort remains. You close your eyes for just a moment, breathing deeply, letting the evening settle around you like a soft blanket. Your husband is in his chair, reading the paper or watching television. You sit beside him, not always talking, just being there. Sometimes he tells you about his day. Sometimes you tell him about yours. Sometimes you sit in silence, the kind of silence that only comes after years of marriage, when you no longer need to fill every moment with words. It is companionship, quiet and steady, the kind that holds a marriage together. You settle onto the couch, still holding the warmth of the tea in your hands, though the mug is empty now. Your husband is in his chair, the green upholstered recliner that has moulded to his shape over the years. The newspaper is spread across his lap, folded to the sports section. His reading glasses sit low on his nose. He looks tired, but then he always looks tired these days. You watch him for a moment. This man you married, this man you have built a life with. His hair is thinner than it used to be, greying at the temples. His face is lined, especially around the eyes, from years of squinting at blueprints and paperwork. He is not the young man you married, and you are not the young woman he married, but you are here, together, and that is something. How was work, you ask, your voice soft, not wanting to intrude too much. He looks up as if surprised to remember you are there. Fine, he says, same as always, busy. You nod. He's not much of a talker, never has been. He keeps his work at work, rarely bringing it home except in the form of exhaustion. You have learned not to press, not to ask too many questions. If he wants to share, he will. If not, you will sit together in silence, and that will be enough. How are the kids today, he asks, folding the paper and setting it aside. Good, you say. Your daughter coloured. Your son played with his soldiers. The usual. He nods, smiling slightly. They are good kids, he says. They are, you agree. The conversation ends there, drifting into the comfortable silence that has become the language of your marriage. It is not that you have nothing to say, it is that you have said so much over the years that sometimes words feel unnecessary. You know each other. You know the rhythms of each other's days, the unspoken worries, the small joys. You do not need to narrate everything. You sit together, the television playing softly in the background. Some western is on, cowboys and horses and dust. Your husband watches it idly, not fully paying attention. You watch too, though you're not really seeing it. You're just sitting, just being, just letting the day drain away. He reaches over and pats your hand, a simple gesture, barely conscious. You're not sure if he even realizes he has done it, but you feel it, the warmth of his palm, the brief squeeze. It is his way of saying thank you, of acknowledging the work you do, even if he does not have the words for it. It is his way of saying, I see you. You squeeze back just as briefly, just as unconsciously. It is your way of saying, I know, I am here. The moment passes. His hand returns to the armrest. You fold yours in your lap. But something has shifted. Something small and tender. A reminder that beneath the exhaustion and the routine, there is still connection. There is still love, even if it is quiet, even if it is worn smooth by time. You think about the early days of your marriage, when everything was new and exciting, when you talked late into the night about your dreams and fears, when every touch felt electric. You miss that sometimes, the intensity of it, the certainty that you were the centre of each other's worlds. But this is different. This is deeper. This is the love that survives sleepless nights with crying babies, tight budgets, arguments about nothing and everything. This is the love that shows up every day, in the folded laundry and the hot meals and the quiet evenings on the couch. It is not dramatic, it is not passionate, but it is steady, it is real. Your husband yawns, stretching his arms over his head. I should probably head to bed soon, he says. You nod. Go ahead, I'll be up in a little while. He stands, folding the newspaper and tucking it under his arm. He leans down and kisses the top of your head. Another small gesture, another moment of tenderness. Good night, he says. Good night, you reply. He walks down the hallway, his footsteps heavy and slow. You hear the bedroom door close softly, and then you're alone again, sitting in the dim living room, the television still playing, the house settling into its nighttime quiet. But you do not feel lonely. You feel held, in some invisible way, by the life you have built together, by the years of sitting side by side, of quiet evenings, of small gestures that say everything without saying anything at all. You turn off the television. The silence rushes in, complete and comforting. You sit for one more moment, letting the stillness wrap around you. Then you rise, ready to finish the evening. If the television is on, you watch whatever is playing. A variety show, a western, the evening news. You do not always pay close attention. Sometimes it is just background noise, something to fill the room while you sit together. But other times you get caught up in a story, laughing at a joke or gasping at a plot twist. It is entertainment, simple and shared, and it feels like a small luxury. The television sits in the corner of the living room, a large console with a curved screen and wooden cabinet. It is a piece of furniture as much as it is an appliance, substantial and permanent. You bought it 3 years ago, A splurge that felt extravagant at the time but has proven its worth night after night. You settle back onto the couch while your husband adjusts the antenna, rotating it slightly until the picture clears. The image wavers, then stabilizes. It is a variety show, one you've seen before. The host stands on stage in a shiny suit, grinning at the camera, welcoming the audience with exaggerated enthusiasm. Your husband returns to his chair. You tuck your feet under you and watch as the host introduces the first act. A singer, a young woman in a sequined gown, steps into the spotlight. Her voice fills the living room clear and bright, and for a moment you forget about the dishes drying in the rack, the laundry waiting to be put away, the 100 things still on your mental list. You glance at your husband. He's watching too, his face relaxed, his eyes half closed. This is his time to unwind, to let the day fall away. You are glad he has this. He works hard. He deserves to rest. The singer finishes to applause and the show cuts to a commercial. A woman in an apron, impossibly cheerful, demonstrates a new floor cleaner. You watch with mild interest, noting the way she glides across her spotless kitchen, the way the product promises to make your life easier, better, brighter. You wonder if it actually works. Probably not, but it is a nice fantasy. The show returns. A comedian takes the stage, launching into a routine about marriage and housework. The audience laughs. Your husband chuckles. You smile, though the jokes feel a bit tired, a bit familiar. How many times have you heard some variation of the same punchline? Wives nag. Husbands forget. Everyone laughs. It is the way things are. Then the comedian sees something genuinely funny, something unexpected, and you laugh out loud. Your husband looks over at you, surprised, and then he laughs too. It is a shared moment, brief but real, and you feel a warmth spread through your chest. The show continues. A dance number, elaborate and colourful, an acrobat who balances on one hand, a magician who pulls a rabbit from a hat. Though the trick is obvious if you watch closely enough, you do not mind. It is not about the tricks. It is about the togetherness, the shared experience of watching something unfold. During another commercial, your husband asks if you want anything from the kitchen. You tell him no, you're fine. He nods and stays put. The commercial ends. The show resumes. A western comes on next after the variety show ends. Cowboys and horses, dusty streets and saloons. Your husband loves westerns. He leans forward slightly, more engaged now. You watch too, though you're not as interested in the gunfights and chases. You like the quieter moments, the scenes where the characters sit around a campfire talking about where they have been and where they're going. The hero rides into town. There is conflict, there is tension. Someone draws a gun. You find yourself holding your breath, even though you know how it will end. The hero always wins. The bad guys always lose. It is predictable, but there is comfort in that predictability. The show ends with the hero riding off into the sunset. Your husband sighs, content. "That was a good one," he says. You nod. It was. The news comes on next, and you both watch as the anchor recounts the day's events, politics, weather, a human interest story about a local boy who saved a cat from a tree. Your husband comments on the weather forecast. You half listen, your mind already drifting toward the task still waiting. But for now, you stay. You sit beside him, watching the flickering images on the screen, letting the television fill the space between you. It is not profound. It is not meaningful in any grand sense. But it is time together, quiet and easy, and in its own way, it is enough. There's always something that needs mending, a hem that has come loose, a button that has fallen off, a small tear in your son's trousers. You keep a sewing basket beside the couch, filled with needles, thread, and small scraps of fabric. You thread a needle, knot the end, and begin stitching. Your hands know the motions. The work is quiet, methodical, and strangely soothing. You're fixing things. You're making them whole again. The sewing basket sits on the floor beside the couch, a wicker basket with a hinged lid and a faded floral lining. It is older than your marriage, a gift from your grandmother, and it holds everything you need. Spools of thread in every colour, packets of needles, a small pair of scissors shaped like a bird, buttons in a glass jar, a pincushion shaped like a tomato. You lift the lid and survey the contents, then reach for the pile of mending you set aside earlier in the week. Your son's trousers are on top, the ones he wore to school yesterday. There is a small tear in the knee, not large, but enough that it will grow if you do not address it. You turn the trousers inside out and lay them across your lap, examining the damage. The fabric has pulled away from itself, creating a small L-shaped gap. You select a spool of navy thread dark enough to match and pull out a length, measuring it against your arm the way your mother taught you. You thread the needle, licking the end of the thread to make it stiff, then pushing it through the eye. It takes 2 tries. Your eyes are not what they used to be, though you would never admit it. You tie a small knot at the end and begin stitching, pushing the needle up through the fabric, then down, then up again, creating small, even stitches that pull the tear closed. The rhythm is familiar, almost meditative. Push, pull, push, pull. Your hands move automatically, guided by years of practice. You have mended countless items of clothing, patched sheets, reattached buttons, hemmed skirts. This work is invisible, like so much of what you do, but it matters. Clothes cost money. Mending saves money. And in a household where every dollar is counted, that is important. Your daughter's dress is next. A button has come loose on the front, dangling by a single thread. You snip the thread with your scissors and examine the button, a small white disc with 4 holes. You find a matching button in the jar, or close enough, and position it on the fabric, holding it in place with your thumb. You thread the needle with white thread this time, knotting the end, and begin stitching the button back on. Up through one hole, down through another, up and down, over and over, creating an X pattern. You wrap the thread around the base of the button several times, securing it, then push the needle through to the back and tie it off. You tug the button to test it. It holds. It is solid. It will last. There is something satisfying about this work. Taking something broken and making it whole. Taking something that would otherwise be discarded and giving it new life. You think about the women who came before you. Your mother, your grandmother, generations of women who sat with their sewing baskets and mended clothes by lamplight. This is their legacy. This quiet, careful work. You pick up your husband's shirt next. The cuff is fraying, the thread's coming loose. You fold the raw edge under and stitch it down, creating a new, clean hem. It is not a perfect job. If you look closely, you can see the line of stitching, but it will hold. That is what matters. The television plays in the background, but you are not watching. Your focus is on the needle, the thread, the fabric in your hands. Your husband sits in his chair reading. The house is quiet except for the sound of your needle-piercing fabric, a soft whisper over and over. You finish the shirt and set it aside. You survey the remaining pile. A sock with a hole in the toe, a dish towel with a fraying edge, a pair of your own stockings with a small run. You will get to them tomorrow. Tonight, you have done enough. You return the needle to its packet, the thread to its spool, and close the lid of the sewing basket. You fold the mended clothes into a neat pile. Tomorrow you will return them to their proper places and no one will notice the repairs. The tear will be gone. The button will be secure. The cuff will be hemmed. Everything will look as it should, and that, you think, is the point. To keep things running, to keep things whole, to tend to the small damages before they become large ones. It is unglamorous work, but it is necessary, and it is yours. Some evenings you write letters, long letters to your mother, who lives 2 states away, short notes to a friend you have not seen in months, thank you cards for birthday gifts. You sit at the kitchen table with a pad of stationery and a pen, and you write in careful cursive. You tell them about your week, about the children, about the small moments that fill your days. You seal the envelope, stamp it, and set it aside to mail tomorrow. It is connection, slow and deliberate, the kind that takes time. The stationery is pale blue, simple but elegant, with your name embossed at the top in slightly darker blue. Your husband gave it to you for Christmas 2 years ago, a thoughtful gift that showed he understood, at least a little, the importance of correspondence in your life. You keep it in the kitchen drawer, along with envelopes, stamps, and a fountain pen that writes smoothly when it does not skip. Tonight, you owe your mother a letter. It has been 3 weeks since you last wrote, and you know she will be wondering how you are, how the children are, how life is unfolding in the small, ordinary ways that mothers care about. You pull the stationery from the drawer, along with an envelope, and sit down at the kitchen table. The overhead light casts a warm glow across the paper. You uncap the pen and begin. Dear Mother. The words flow easily at first. You tell her about the children. Your daughter lost a tooth, and the tooth fairy left a dime under her pillow, which she spent immediately on candy. Your son is doing well in school, though his teacher says he talks too much during lessons. You describe the weather, unseasonably warm for this time of year, and how the roses in the front yard are still blooming. But then you pause, pen hovering over the paper. What else is there to say? Your days are full, but they are also repetitive. The same tasks, the same routines, day after day. How do you write about that without sounding like you're complaining? How do you convey the weight of it, the sameness, without making it seem like you're ungrateful? You decide to keep it light. You write about a funny thing your son said at dinner, a joke he told that did not quite make sense but made everyone laugh anyway. You mention that you're thinking about making a new dress for your daughter, something with a full skirt that she can twirl in. You ask your mother how she's feeling, whether her arthritis has been bothering her, whether she needs anything. You fill the page, your handwriting slanting slightly to the right, the way it always does when you write quickly. When you reach the bottom, you sign it, love, always, and add your name. Then you fold the letter carefully and slide it into the envelope. You address it in the same careful cursive, your mother's name, her street address, the town and state. You seal the envelope with a lick, the glue tasting faintly bitter, and press it closed. Then you find a stamp in the drawer, a 3-cent stamp with a picture of the Liberty Bell, and affix it to the upper right corner. The letter sits on the table, ready to be mailed. Tomorrow you will walk it to the mailbox at the end of the street, and in a few days your mother will receive it. She will sit at her own kitchen table and read it, hearing your voice in the words, picturing your life from the details you have shared. And then she will write back, and the cycle will continue, this slow, steady exchange that keeps you connected across the miles. There is something comforting about letters. They are tangible proof of care, of effort. A phone call is over in minutes, the words disappearing into the air, but a letter can be held, reread, saved. Your mother keeps all your letters in a box in her closet. You know, because she told you once, almost shyly, as if it was something to be embarrassed about. But you were touched. You keep her letters too, tied with a ribbon, tucked away in your own closet. You think about writing to your friend, the one who moved away last year when her husband took a new job. You miss her. You miss the afternoons when she would come over for coffee. when you would sit at this same table and talk about everything and nothing. But it is late, and you are tired, and one letter tonight is enough. You gather the stationery and return it to the drawer. You cap the pen and set it beside the letter. Tomorrow you will mail it. Tonight you have done what you can to keep the connections alive, to remind the people you love that you're thinking of them, even when distance keeps you apart. You turn off the kitchen light and return to the living room, where your husband is still reading. The evening is winding down. There's not much left to do. Before the day ends, you think about tomorrow. What will you make for breakfast? What will you pack for the children's lunches? What will you serve for dinner? You flip through a recipe card box, or you simply run through the options in your mind. You check the pantry. You check the refrigerator. You make a mental note of what you need from the grocery store. Planning is part of the work. It is how you keep everything running smoothly. You stand in the kitchen, the house quiet around you, and let your mind turn to tomorrow. It is a habit now, this nightly planning, this mental inventory of meals and ingredients. Without it, mornings would be chaos. Without it, dinners would be late, lunches would be forgotten, and the smooth rhythm you've worked so hard to create would collapse. Breakfast is easy, oatmeal probably. The children like it with brown sugar and a pat of butter. Your husband prefers his plain, with just a sprinkle of salt. You have oats in the pantry, plenty of them, and milk in the refrigerator. That is settled. Lunch is more complicated. Your children carry their lunches to school in small metal lunch boxes, the kind with cartoon characters stamped on the front. You need to pack something filling, something they will actually eat, something that will not spoil sitting in their cubbies all morning. Sandwiches, you decide. Peanut butter and jelly for your daughter, bologna and cheese for your son. You have both. You check the bread box. Enough bread. Good. You will add an apple for each of them, and a handful of crackers wrapped in wax paper. Maybe a cookie if you have time to bake. You make a mental note. Bake cookies tomorrow afternoon. Something simple. Oatmeal raisin, maybe, or chocolate chip if you have enough sugar. Dinner is the hardest. It is the meal that requires the most thought, the most effort. You want something everyone will eat, something that will fill them up, something that will not take too long to prepare. You open the refrigerator and peer inside, taking inventory. The leftover meatloaf is gone, eaten for lunch today. The mashed potatoes are gone too. The green beans are still there, but not enough for a meal. You have chicken in the icebox wrapped in paper. You could roast it, serve it with potatoes and carrots. That would work. Hearty and simple. You check the pantry for potatoes. There is a bag in the bottom cabinet, and when you pull it out and look inside, you count 5 potatoes. Enough for the family. Carrots too in the crisper drawer. That is dinner then. Roast chicken, roasted vegetables. Maybe a salad if the lettuce is still good. You make a mental note of what you need from the grocery store. Butter is running low. You need more milk by midweek. Eggs, definitely eggs. Bread, though you might bake your own if you have time. Sugar, if you're going to make cookies. Maybe a cut of beef for later in the week. Something you can stretch into 2 meals. You think about the days ahead, the rhythm of meals, the endless cycle of feeding your family. Monday, chicken. Tuesday, maybe a casserole, something with the leftover chicken and rice. Wednesday, spaghetti, easy and fast. Thursday, pork chops if they're on sale. Friday, fish, because it is Friday. Saturday, something special, maybe a pot roast if the budget allows. Sunday, fried chicken after church, your husband's favourite. It is exhausting, this constant planning, this mental labour that never ends. But it is also necessary. It is how you keep your family fed, how you keep the household running. No one sees this work. No one knows about the calculations you do in your head, the way you stretch $1, the way you plan 3 days ahead to make sure nothing is wasted. You close the refrigerator and lean against the counter, feeling the weight of it all. Tomorrow, you will get up early and start again. You will make breakfast, pack lunches, prepare dinner. You will move through the kitchen like you always do, chopping and stirring and baking, creating meals out of simple ingredients and careful planning. But tonight, the planning is done. You know what tomorrow holds. You know what needs to be done. And that knowledge, that certainty, brings a small measure of peace. You turn off the kitchen light and walk back toward the living room. Tomorrow is taken care of. Tonight, you can rest. Before bed, you walk through the house one last time, checking that the doors are locked and the windows are closed. You turn off the porch light. You make sure the stove is off. You glance into the children's rooms to make sure they are still sleeping. It is a ritual of safety, of making sure your home is secure before you allow yourself to rest. The house is dim now, most of the lights turned off, only a few small lamps still glowing. You move through the rooms quietly, your footsteps soft on the floors, not wanting to wake anyone. This is your final task of the evening, the last thing you do before you can finally go to bed. You start at the front door. You try the handle, pushing down to make sure it is locked. It is. You slide the chain into place as well, an extra precaution, though you're not sure what you're guarding against. This is a safe neighborhood. Nothing bad ever happens here. But still, you lock the chain. It makes you feel better. You check the window beside the door, making sure it is latched. It is. You move to the living room windows, running your fingers along the locks, testing them. All secure. The curtains are drawn, blocking out the night. Through a small gap, you can see the street outside, quiet and empty. The street lamps casting pools of yellow light on the pavement. The kitchen is next. You check the back door, the one that leads to the yard. Locked. You peer through the window into the darkness, seeing nothing but the vague shapes of trees and the neighbour's fence. Everything is still. Everything is safe. You move to the stove and place your hand on each burner, feeling for residual heat. They are cool. You turn each knob, making sure they are all set to off. You do this every night, even though you know you already turned them off hours ago. But you check anyway, because the thought of fire, of something going wrong while you sleep, is too terrible to ignore. You turn off the light above the sink, plunging the kitchen into darkness. A small nightlight glows near the baseboards, just enough to navigate by if someone comes down in the middle of the night. You walk down the hallway, pausing at your daughter's room. The door is open a crack just as you left it. You push it open a little wider and peer inside. She's asleep, curled on her side, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. Her breathing is slow and even. You watch her for a moment, feeling the fierce love that always surprises you with its intensity. She is safe. She is here. You pull the door back to where it was, leaving it open just enough. Your son's room is next. He is sprawled on his back, arms flung wide. The comic book he was reading earlier slipped to the floor. You tiptoe in and pick it up, setting it on his nightstand. You pull the blanket up over him, tucking it gently around his shoulders. He stirs but doesn't wake. You stand there for a moment, watching the rise and fall of his chest, then back out of the room, closing the door to the same small gap. You check the bathroom window, small and high, but you check it anyway. Locked. You turn off the hallway light, leaving only the nightlight plugged into the outlet near the damp floor. Finally, you walk back to the living room and turn off the porch light. The switch is by the front door, and when you flip it, the front of the house goes dark. You look through the window one more time. The street is quiet. The neighbours' houses are dark. Everyone is settling in for the night. You stand in the centre of the living room, the house silent around you, and take a breath. Everything is secure. Everyone is safe. The doors are locked. The windows are closed. The stove is off. Your children are sleeping peacefully in their beds. This ritual soothes you. This final walk through the house. It is a way of marking the end of the day, of transitioning from work to rest. It is a way of assuring yourself that you have done everything you can to keep your family safe. You turn off the last lamp and the living room goes dark. Only the faint glow of the night lights remains, soft and steady, guiding your way. You are ready now, ready to let go of the day, ready to sleep. You walk down the hallway toward your bedroom, where your husband is already in bed, and close the door softly behind you. You lay out your clothes for tomorrow, smoothing them across the chair in your bedroom, a dress, stockings, an apron. You check for stains, for missing buttons, for anything that needs attention. You do the same for your husband, setting his clothes on the dresser. It is one less decision to make in the morning, one less thing to slow you down. The bedroom is quiet, lit only by the small lamp on your nightstand. Your husband is already in bed, propped against his pillow, reading the last few pages of a magazine. He glances up when you enter but says nothing, returning to his reading. You move to the closet and slide the hangers aside, searching for tomorrow's dress. You choose the blue one, cotton with short sleeves and a modest neckline. It is practical, comfortable, easy to move in. You've worn it 100 times. It knows the shape of your body, the way you bend and reach, the way you stand at the sink. You lay it across the chair by the window, smoothing the fabric with your palms, making sure it hangs evenly. Stockings are next. You open the top drawer of your dresser and pull out a pair, checking them carefully in the light. You hold them up, examining the seams, looking for runs or snags. These are good, still intact. You drape them over the arm of the chair next to the dress. Your apron hangs on a hook on the back of the door. You take it down and shake it out, checking the ties, the pockets, the hem. It is slightly stained, small spots from cooking that never fully came out, but it is clean. It will do. You fold it neatly and place it on the seat of the chair, ready to be tied on in the morning. You step back and look at the arrangement. Dress, stockings, apron, everything you need. It is a small thing, this preparation, but it makes the morning easier. You will not have to think about what to wear. You will not have to search through the closet in the dim light before dawn. You will simply dress automatically and move on to the next task. Now you turn your attention to your husband. His clothes are already laid out on the dresser, but you check them anyway. A white shirt, freshly ironed. You run your fingers along the collar, making sure it is crisp. A pair of grey trousers pressed with sharp creases. A belt, brown leather, slightly worn but serviceable. Socks, black, rolled together in a neat ball. Everything is in order. You check the shirt more closely, holding it up to the light. The buttons are all secure. The cuffs are clean. There are no stains, no loose threads. It is perfect. You fold it back over the dresser, aligning it carefully so it will not wrinkle overnight. His tie hangs over the edge of the dresser, dark blue with thin diagonal stripes. You straighten it, making sure it is not twisted. He will grab it in the morning without looking, looping it around his neck while he thinks about his day. Everything must be ready. Everything must be easy. You open his sock drawer and pull out a handkerchief, white and freshly pressed. You tuck it into the pocket of his trousers, the way he likes it, just the corner peeking out. It is a small detail, one he probably does not notice, but you do it anyway. These small acts of care are how you show love, how you tend to him even when he is not aware of it. Your shoes sit by the closet, low-heeled and sensible, the ones you wear every day. You check them, quickly, making sure they're clean, that the heels are not too worn. They're fine. His shoes are by the door, already polished. He takes care of his own shoes, one of the few tasks he does not leave to you. You stand in the center of the bedroom and survey your work. Everything is laid out. Everything is ready. Tomorrow morning there will be no scrambling, no searching, no last-minute panic. You will wake, dress, and begin the day with efficiency and calm. This is the gift you give yourself, this small piece of order in the chaos. Your husband turns off his reading light and settles under the covers. "You coming to bed?" he asks, his voice already thick with sleep. "Soon," you tell him. He nods, closing his eyes. Within minutes his breathing deepens, slows. He's asleep. You take one more look at the chair, at the dresser, at the clothes waiting patiently for morning. Then you turn off the lamp and move toward the bathroom, where your own nighttime routine awaits. You stand at the bathroom sink and remove the makeup you applied that morning. Cold cream, a washcloth, your face slowly returning to its bare self. You brush your teeth. You wash your face with soap and water. You look at yourself in the mirror, tired but satisfied. The day is done. You did what needed doing. The bathroom is small, the walls tiled in pale green, the fixtures porcelain and slightly yellowed with age. The mirror above the sink is speckled at the edges where the silver backing has worn away. You turn on the faucet and let the water run until it is warm, then wet a washcloth and wring it out. You reach for the jar of cold cream, unscrewing the lid and dipping your fingers into the thick white substance. It is cool against your skin, almost shockingly so, and you begin spreading it across your face in slow, circular motions. Your forehead, your cheeks, your chin. The cream melts under your fingertips, mixing with the powder and lipstick, loosening everything. You work it in carefully, massaging it into your skin, feeling the day dissolve under your hands. This is the face you showed the world today, the put-together version, the one that smiled at neighbours and greeted the mailman and checked out at the grocery store. But now, in the privacy of your bathroom, you let it go. You take the washcloth and begin wiping away the cold cream, starting at your forehead and working down. The cloth comes away streaked with beige and pink, the evidence of your effort. You rinse the cloth and wipe again and again until your face is clean, bare, nothing left but skin. You look at yourself in the mirror. Without makeup, you look older, tired. The lines around your eyes are more visible, the shadows beneath them darker. Your lips are pale. Your cheeks have lost their artificial bloom. This is the real you, the one no one sees except your husband, and sometimes not even him. You're not sure how you feel about this face. Some days it feels like a relief, shedding the mask. Other days it feels like a loss, like you are erasing the best version of yourself. Tonight you are too tired to decide. You simply look, taking inventory, then reach for your toothbrush. The toothpaste is minty, sharp on your tongue. You brush methodically, the way your dentist taught you, up and down, back and forth, making sure to reach the molars in the back. You spit into the sink, rinse your mouth, rinse the brush. Your teeth feel clean, smooth under your tongue. You turn on the faucet again and splash water on your face, cool and bracing. You lather your hands with a bar of soap, plain white soap that smells faintly of nothing, and wash your face thoroughly, scrubbing away any remaining traces of cream, any residue from the day. The water runs down your neck, soaking the collar of your dress. You do not care. You rinse, patting your face dry with a towel that hangs on the rack. Your skin feels tight, clean, almost raw. You reach for the jar of night cream, a different cream, lighter and faintly scented with roses. You smooth it across your face, your neck, working it into the skin with gentle pats. This is supposed to keep you looking young, or so the advertisements claim. You're not sure it works, but you do it anyway, a small act of hope against the inevitable. You look at yourself one more time in the mirror. Your face is bare, scrubbed clean, ready for sleep. The woman looking back at you is tired, yes, but there is something else there too. satisfaction maybe, or perhaps just acceptance. The day is over. You made it through. You did everything that was expected of you, and then some. You turn off the bathroom light and step into the hallway. The house is dark and quiet. Your husband is asleep. Your children are asleep. It is just you now, moving through the darkness toward your own bed, toward your own rest. You have earned this, every moment of it. Before bed, you apply night cream, smoothing it across your face and neck. You roll your hair into curlers, pinning each one carefully. It is not glamorous, but it is necessary. Tomorrow morning, when you take them out, your hair will fall in soft waves. You will look put together, even if you are exhausted. That is the expectation. That is the standard. You sit at your vanity, a small wooden table with a round mirror that your mother gave you when you got married. The surface is cluttered with bottles and jars, hairpins scattered like tiny metal insects, a comb with a few strands of your hair caught in its teeth. The lamp casts a soft glow, just enough to see by. The night cream is in a glass jar with a gold lid, elegant and promising. You unscrew it and dip your fingers in, scooping out a small amount. It is thick and rich, smelling faintly of almonds. You dot it on your forehead, your cheeks, your chin, then smooth it outward in gentle circular motions. Your skin drinks it in, grateful after the harsh soap and water. You work it down your neck, an area the magazines say you must never neglect. The neck shows age, they warn, betrays you when your face does not. So you smooth the cream down to your collarbones, massaging it in, trying to believe it makes a difference. Now comes the part you dread, the curlers. You reach for the pink mesh bag that holds them, pulling out the first one. It is plastic, hollow, with tiny holes and a metal clip. You section off a piece of hair at your crown, comb it smooth, then wrap it around the curler, rolling it tight against your scalp. The clip snaps into place, one down. You work methodically, section by section, rolling and pinning. Each curler is slightly uncomfortable, pulling at your scalp, but you ignore it. This is the price of presentability. This is what it takes to look effortless. The sides come next, then the back. Your arms ache from holding them over your head. Your scalp tingles where the curlers pull. You catch your reflection in the mirror and almost laugh. You look absurd, your head covered in pink plastic cylinders, your face shiny with cream. This is what beauty looks like behind closed doors. This is the secret no one talks about. You secure the last curler and lower your arms, rolling your shoulders to ease the stiffness. Your head feels heavy, foreign, weighted down by plastic and pins. You know you will feel every curler when you lie down, pressing into your scalp, making sleep uncomfortable. But by morning, they will have done their work. Your hair will have shape, body, wave. You will look like a woman who has her life together. You reach for a scarf, a silk one, and tie it over the curlers, knotting it at the nape of your neck. This keeps them in place, keeps them from shifting in the night. It also makes you look slightly less ridiculous, though only slightly. You stand and look at yourself in the full-length mirror on the closet door. A woman in a nightgown, her face gleaming with cream, her head wrapped in silk and studded with curlers. This is the version of you no one sees. This is the work that happens in private, the effort that goes into looking effortless. Your husband would be shocked if he saw you like this, you think. But he is already asleep, and even if he were awake, you would make sure he did not see. Some things are better kept private. Some labour is invisible by design. You turn off the vanity lamp and move toward the bed. The curlers shift as you walk, clicking softly against each other. You're ready for bed now, as ready as you will ever be. Tomorrow morning you will undo all of this, combing out the curls, smoothing them into place, transforming yourself back into the woman the world expects to see. But tonight, you can rest, or try to. You slip into bed beside your husband, pulling the covers up to your chin. The house is quiet. The children are asleep. The work is done. You lie there in the darkness thinking about the day, what went well, what you could have done better, what tomorrow will bring. You do not have a name for what you are feeling. It is not quite contentment, not quite exhaustion. It is something in between, the quiet hum of a life lived in service to others. The sheets are cool against your skin, freshly washed and hung on the line yesterday. They smell faintly of sunshine and wind, that clean outdoor smell that cannot be replicated. You pull them up to your shoulders and settle into your pillow, but sleep does not come immediately. It never does. The curlers press against your scalp, each one a small point of discomfort. You shift slightly, trying to find a position that minimizes the pressure, but there is no perfect position. You have learned to accept this, the small price of vanity, the nightly discomfort that purchases tomorrow's presentability. Your mind is still moving, still processing, still running through the list of things that were done and the list of things still waiting. You think about the morning, how it unfolded, the breakfast you made, the lunches you packed, the way your son complained about his eggs and your daughter spilled her juice. Small moments, forgettable moments, but they add up to a day. You think about the laundry you folded, the floors you swept, the dinner you cooked, the endless cycle of work that fills your hours. You wonder sometimes if anyone notices, if anyone sees how much effort goes into keeping everything running smoothly. Probably not. Probably they just assume it happens, that clean clothes appear in drawers and meals arrive on the table by some kind of domestic magic. There's a particular invisibility to housework that sometimes weighs on you. If you do it well, no one notices. The house simply runs. The children simply have what they need. Your husband simply finds his life organized and comfortable. It is only when something goes wrong, when a button is missing or dinner is late, that anyone pays attention. You do not resent this exactly. This is your role. This is what you signed up for when you got married, when you became a mother. But sometimes, late at night, you wonder what else you might have been. What other version of yourself exists in some parallel life where you made different choices? Before marriage, you had dreams that didn't involve kitchens and laundry. Small dreams, nothing grand, but dreams nonetheless. You wanted to take a typing class and work in an office. You wanted to save money and take a train to the city by yourself, just to see what it felt like. You wanted time that belonged only to you, hours that you could fill however you chose. You pushed the thought away. It does no good to dwell on what might have been. This is your life. These are your people. This is the world you have built, one meal and one load of laundry at a time. Beside you, your husband shifts in his sleep, his breathing deep and even. He works hard too, you remind yourself. He provides. He does his part. But his part ends when he comes home. Yours does not. Yours stretches from the moment you wake until the moment you finally close your eyes. And even then, part of you is listening, waiting for a child to call out in the night, for some need that only you can meet. You have learned to sleep lightly since becoming a mother. You wake at the smallest sound, alert immediately, ready to respond. Your husband sleeps through everything. He could sleep through a thunderstorm, through a crying baby, through the world ending. You used to envy this, his ability to simply rest, fully and completely. Now you accept it as part of the division of labor. He sleeps. You listen. You think about your children, asleep in their rooms, their faces so peaceful in sleep, so innocent. They are the reason you do all of this. They are the reason you push through the exhaustion, the repetition, the moments when you want to just stop. You want them to have clean clothes and full bellies and a mother who is there, always there, steady and reliable. Your daughter, who coloured that purple horse tonight with such concentration. Your son, who staged elaborate battles with his toy soldiers, narrating every movement with serious intensity. They're growing so fast. Soon they will not need you the way they need you now. Soon they will be older, independent, moving toward their own lives. And what will you do then, when the work that has defined you for so many years is no longer needed? You push that thought away too. It is too large for tonight, too heavy. You will think about it when the time comes. For now, they are still young. They still need you. That's enough. You think about tomorrow. It will be much like today. The same tasks, the same routines, but there will be small differences, small moments of joy or frustration that you cannot predict. Your daughter might say something funny. Your son might bring home a drawing from school. Your husband might remember to thank you for dinner. Or maybe none of those things will happen. Maybe it will just be another day. But that is enough, you tell yourself. These ordinary days strung together like beads on a necklace. They are your life. They are not glamorous. They are not exciting. But they are real. And they are yours. And there is something beautiful in that, even if you cannot always see it. You feel your body beginning to relax finally, the tension in your shoulders easing, your breathing slowing. The curlers press against your scalp, uncomfortable but familiar. You shift slightly, trying to find a position that does not hurt too much. The darkness is complete now, soft and enveloping. You can hear the house settling around you, the small creaks and sighs of wood and plaster. You can hear the distant hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the clock in the hallway. These sounds are comforting, proof that your world is intact, that everyone is safe. There is a particular quality to nighttime silence that you have come to love. It is not empty silence. It is full silence, dense with the presence of sleeping people, with the weight of a house at rest. During the day, the house is noisy with activity, with demands and needs and constant motion. But at night, it exhales. At night, it rests. And so can you. You close your eyes and let yourself drift, not quite asleep but not quite awake. Your mind begins to quiet, the thoughts slowing, becoming less urgent. Tomorrow will come whether you're ready or not. But tonight, you rest. Tonight, you let go. Outside, somewhere in the distance, a dog barks once, then falls silent. A car passes on the street, its headlights sweeping briefly across the bedroom ceiling before disappearing. The world continues moving through its night, but you are separate from it now, cocooned in your bedroom, in your bed, in the quiet privacy of almost sleep. You have done enough. You are enough. And with that thought soft and sure, you finally begin to let go. Your eyes grow heavy, your breathing slows. The sounds of the house, the ticking clock, the hum of the refrigerator, the creak of the floorboards, all of it fades into the background. You drift, finally, into sleep. Tomorrow will bring the same routines, the same tasks, the same quiet choreography of keeping a household running. But tonight, you rest. You have earned it. The transition from waking to sleeping is gentle tonight, a slow dissolving of consciousness. Your body sinks deeper into the mattress, your muscles releasing their hold, your mind letting go of the day. The curlers press into your scalp, but you barely notice now. Everything is softening, blurring, fading. You are aware distantly of your husband beside you. His presence is comforting, solid, a warm shape in the darkness. You have shared this bed for years now, and his rhythms are as familiar to you as your own. The way he breathes, the way he shifts, the small sounds he makes in sleep. You do not need to see him to know he is there. The weight of his body creates a slight dip in the mattress, and you have learned to sleep in your own space, not rolling toward him, but not moving away either. There is an understood geography to your shared bed, invisible boundaries that you both respect. His side, your side. The small space between where occasionally, on good nights, your hands meet. The house is speaking its nighttime language now, all those sounds that only emerge when everything else goes quiet. The settling of wood, the whisper of wind against the windows, the distant bark of a dog several houses away. These sounds do not disturb you. They are part of the landscape of your nights, the background music of rest. Your thoughts, which were so busy just moments ago, are slowing now, becoming fragmentary, illogical. You think about your daughter's purple horse, about the way the dishwater felt on your hands, about tomorrow's chicken dinner. But the thoughts do not connect. They float past like leaves on a stream, and you watch them go without trying to hold on. There is a dreamlike quality to these last conscious moments, when your mind is no longer fully under your control. Images drift through without order or sense. Your mother's kitchen, the blue dress hanging on the chair, a button you need to sew, the sound of your children laughing, your husband's face when you first met him, younger, brighter, full of promise. You feel yourself slipping, that strange sensation of falling that sometimes comes at the edge of sleep. Your body jerks slightly, pulling you back for just a moment, but then you let go again, surrendering to it. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to plan. You have completed the day's work. You have tended to everyone who needed tending. You have kept your household running, kept your family fed and clothed and loved. The jerking called a hypnic jerk used to frighten you when you were younger. You would wake suddenly, heart pounding, convinced you were falling. But now you recognize it, welcome it even, as the signal that sleep is near. Your body is releasing its last bit of control, letting go of the waking world. Tomorrow you will wake before dawn. You will rise in the dark, careful not to disturb your husband, and you will begin again. You will make coffee. You will cook breakfast. You will pack lunches and tie shoes and smooth hair. You will move through your day with the same efficiency, the same care, the same invisible labour that no one will notice but everyone will depend on. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, you are released from duty. Tonight, you can rest. Your breathing deepens, matching your husband's rhythm. In and out, slow and steady. Your heartbeat slows. Your mind grows quiet. The darkness behind your eyelids is complete, velvety, soft. You think for just a moment about your life, about the choices that brought you here, about the girl you were before marriage, before children, before all of this. She feels very far away now, almost like a character in a story you once read. But she's still there, somewhere inside you, tucked away in the corners of your heart. Maybe that is enough. Maybe it has to be. Your last conscious thought is of morning, of the sun rising, of the kitchen waiting for you, of your children waking, of the day beginning again. But the thought is not heavy. It is simply there, a fact, like the ticking clock or the hum of the refrigerator. And then finally you are not thinking at all. You are drifting, you are floating, you are gone. Sleep takes you gently, like an old friend, and holds you through the night. Your body rests, your mind rests. The curlers stay in place, the house stays quiet. Your children sleep safely in their beds. Your husband breathes beside you. Everything is as it should be. Your face relaxes completely in sleep, the small lines around your mouth softening, the tension in your jaw releasing. Your hands, which have worked so hard all day, lie still on the blanket, palms up, fingers slightly curved. Even in sleep they look tired. The night deepens. Hours pass. The house settles further into darkness. Outside, the neighborhood is silent except for the occasional car passing, the rustle of wind in the trees. Inside, your family sleeps, safe and warm, held together by invisible threads of care and routine and love. Tomorrow will come, as it always does. The alarm will ring, the coffee will need making, the children will need waking, the endless cycle will begin again. But for now, for these precious hours, you are free. Free from the tasks and the expectations and the endless work of being a 1960s housewife. Free from the performance of capability, of cheerfulness, of tireless service. Free from the need to be anything for anyone. Tonight you are simply a woman, sleeping. Your breathing is deep and even now completely relaxed. Your body has surrendered fully to rest. The curlers press against your scalp, but you do not feel them. The covers have shifted slightly, leaving one shoulder exposed to the cool night air, but you do not wake to adjust them. You're beyond all of that now, deep in the place where sleep lives. Dreams come, fragmented and strange. You're in your mother's kitchen, but it is also your kitchen. Your daughter is there, but she is also you as a child. The dreams make no sense, following their own logic, but you do not question them. You simply move through them, watching them unfold. And through it all, through the dreams and the darkness and the deep rest, your body does what it needs to do. It repairs itself. It restores itself. It prepares for tomorrow. Because tomorrow always comes. But tonight, for now, for these last hours before dawn, you rest. You have earned it. You are enough. And that is everything. So tonight, as you pull the blanket up and settle into the quiet, take a moment to think about the women who moved through these evenings, who washed the dishes by hand and rolled their hair in curlers and checked on sleeping children one last time before bed. They did not think of themselves as living in history. They were simply living, doing what needed doing, tending to the people and places they loved with steady, unremarkable care. These were not perfect lives. These were not easy lives. But there was a rhythm to them, a slowness that allowed for presence, for noticing, for being fully in the moment even when the moment was ordinary. There was connection in ways we have mostly lost, the kind that comes from sitting together without screens, from writing letters by hand, from knowing your day would unfold at the speed of human hands, not the speed of everything all at once. Maybe we cannot go back to that world. Maybe we would not want to, not entirely. But we can carry something forward. We can choose to slow down, even for a moment. We can notice the smell of dinner cooking, the weight of clean laundry in our hands, the quiet house after everyone has gone to bed. We can honour the small tasks, the invisible work, the daily acts of care that hold our lives together. History is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's a kitchen table and a lamp in the window and someone down the street who knows your name. Sometimes it is just the quiet choreography of an ordinary evening, repeated night after night, until those nights become a life. And that is enough. That has always been enough. So rest now, knowing that you too are living a life that matters. The small things you do, the people you care for, the routines you keep, they're weaving themselves into something larger than you can see. They are becoming your own history, tender and real. Good night, and may your dreams be as gentle as those kitchens, as warm as those homes, as peaceful as the evenings we have just walked through together.